Is another pleasant Saturday afternoon here from the TitleTown Throwdown studio. I am Nick LeBlanc. Hello, welcome all, welcome one. Well, not a lot to get to, but we're gonna dive right into it anyway. The Red Sox are in another tough stretch here in their season. They just wrapped up a 3-game set to the Tampa Bay Rays, where they lost 2 out of 3 games. They went into Tampa Bay with a half-game lead, and they walked out of Tampa Bay trailing by a half game. Not to mention the third and final game of that series, you lose on a walk-off wild pitch. Of all freaking things. A walk-off, like really? Like how does stuff like that even happen? Like honestly. How the hell does it happen? A walk-off wild pitch. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, really? Now, look, the Red Sox could have easily avoided that 1-0 humiliating loss. If really a couple of things, and let's see, what are those couple things? Oh, yeah! Not running the bases poorly like freaking little leaguers. 2, actually scoring some goddamn runs for a change early and often off a guy who, is probably going to struggle. And 3, this is the big thing, not committing stupid freaking errors. The Red Sox, as of the end of games last night, lead the American League with 57 errors. They got the worst fielding percentage in all of the American League. I don't know about all of baseball. I can imagine the Diamondbacks, who have the worst record in baseball, have a better fielding percentage than your Boston Red Sox. And yet somehow the Red Sox are in second place in the American League East, half a game behind the Tampa Bay Rays, and lead the A's by 0.002 percentage points for the American League wildcard. Yes, I did that math because it's pretty simple math. Red Sox have a 592 win percentage. The A's have a 590 win percentage, and the A's have played 2 more games than the Red Sox. But on that tough stretch, which again, you're 500 on through the first 4 games. Bravo to you. You're not completely inept. But we'll get to last night's game in just a minute. You have a stretch between the Rays, Yankees, a 4-game set with the Royals, who, quite frankly, were the better team in this series that you just lost to last weekend. But, again, struggling. Like, massive struggles. And then you got the A's for 3 out in Oakland. And then you got the Angels for 3 out in LA. And then you wrap everything up in the unofficial first half of the year with 3 against the Phillies. One of those games which I will be attending. Yes, I'll be going back to Fenway Park. Thank God. But anyway, though, on the last night's game, which is still part of this tough stretch, even before the All-Star break, after the All-Star break doesn't get any easier. But let's look at this for just a minute. Last night's game, you started off strong. Martin Perez, 1-2-3 first inning. You scored 3 runs in the first inning. Awesome. Sweet. And then your pitcher shits the bed. Your pitcher crapped the bed. And then it was just a lull for about really the rest of the game. Yeah, he scored 2 runs later on in the 7th, 8th inning. But it was just such a lull of a long one. Not a typical Red Sox Yankee game. It wasn't 4 hours. It wasn't 5.5. It was about I'd say about maybe a 3.5 hour game, which is honestly in today's Major League Baseball terms about average. It's about the length of an average baseball game. Because you got guys just standing there, literally doing nothing, looking at the catcher like, no, I don't want that pitch. No, I guess so. But it wasn't the pace of the pitches that was the issue. It's just it's just one of those games which it kind of just seemed to drag. And not in a bad way. I mean, they still went by, quickly. They weren't taking prolonged innings or anything like that. It was just one of those games which is kind of just slowly lulled you to sleep. So it was kind of just one of those nights for the Red Sox that, yeah, you did win the game. You did score some runs. Your closer nearly gave it up in the ninth inning. You got a throw out at home, and then you got a double play. And he nails down the save. But did Matt Barnes look great last night? No, he did not. But again, besides the point, just the whole game last night, just, I don't know, it's kind of just like a bland game. Like, yeah, they scored some runs, they got some hits, but no one did anything too flashy. No one made no one climbed the wall to rob a double. No one made a diving catch in the corner of right field or in the triangle in center field. It just wasn't a flashy Red Sox Yankees game. It's kind of just like any other MLB game, really. Just any other opponent. It's like, yeah, we're doing all right. It's okay. This game's all right. It's all right. I don't know. It's just one of those games in which your offense looked good and went to sleep. Your pitcher started off great, then he crapped the bed. And you just couldn't really capitalize, and neither team could really capitalize on any opportunities. So it was those kind of games that, it's that type of game that's like, okay, yeah, we're good in this aspect, but we still can't do it consistently. Can we do this right? The pitchers still aren't right. The bullpen, oh my God, the bullpen was fabulous last night. The one bright spot, after Martin Perez came out of that ball game and really struggling, labored through, what was it, 3 2/3? The bullpen came in, slammed the door in front of the Yankees, said, no more runs for you. We're taking over, so our guys can score at least 1 or 2 more runs, which they did. And that's great. That's great. That really is great. So now we kind of look at this things like this. The Red Sox are 4-0 against the New York Yankees this year. I don't think you would have expected the Red Sox to win the next 4 consecutive games against the Yankees. But really, if you want to date back to last year and the 10 games that they played against the Yankees, the Red Sox have realistically beaten the Yankees 5 consecutive times. 4 of them just happen to be in a season that's normal, feels better. Last year was just an absolute crap show, and the Yankees literally just kicked your ass 8 ways to Sunday. Right now, you caught the Yankees at a hot stretch, but you cooled them off a little bit and you're scuffling. But you also had some energy last night from Dustin Pedroia's ceremony last night. We'll get into more on that in the next segment. But, you're scuffling. Yankees coming in hot. They're starting to hit the bats again. They're starting to win some games and actually come alive in this race a little bit. Now, look, I'm not saying that the Yankees weren't going to make a run at some point. This is still a 3-team race in the American League East between the Red Sox, Rays, and Yankees. The Blue Jays are an honorable mention because the Blue Jays, they got some tough hitters, but they're pitching suspect. And then you got the Baltimore Orioles, who are just the Orioles. They're basically the division's punching bag at this point. They're really just the division's punching bag. If you're in a bad stretch, you need something to go off of. You got a series against the Orioles coming up. Just pound their faces in and make you feel a little bit better, and then gives you some momentum. Red Sox don't have any games turned up against the Orioles for a little while. And when I mean for a little while, I mean I don't think there's a Red Sox Orioles series until August. Like mid-August, I think. So that's the next time we see the Orioles. And I think they come here to Fenway Park. Because we've already been down to Camden Yards twice. And the Orioles have been up here only once. And that was the first series of the year. Which the Red Sox got swept by the Orioles, but then the Red Sox took care of business the rest of the way with the Orioles. I think of the last 6 games they've played, the Red Sox have lost only once between the Orioles. Meanwhile, they are 5-4 against Baltimore total this year, but it doesn't matter. That 0-3 start for the Red Sox means nothing right now. The 3-0 start for the Orioles absolutely means jack to them. But this stretch is important for the Red Sox. They're playing you're still playing legitimate, good opponents. The Royals, don't underestimate them, but they're not a team that's setting the world on fire, but they're a team that will compete. You got the A's who are a great team. You got the Angels who are like the Royals, better than KC though, definitely. But they're a team that competes, will play hard, and try to win a game, and will steal a series or split the series. One of the two, nothing in between. And then you got the Phillies, who, like the entire National League East has to this point of the year, has been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. First off, no one in that division has found any type of consistency. All right, the Mets are still in first place, but even they've been up, down, up, down, up, down. Braves off to a bad start. They figured it out a little bit, but still up, down, up, down, up, down. Nationals, up, down, up, down. Phillies, as I just said, up, down, up, down. Like, you can say the Marlins are an up and down team, but really we know what to expect from them year in and year out anyway. And they can only make the playoffs if it's a pandemic shortened season. Just like the Dodgers can only win the World Series in a pandemic shortened season. But the Dodgers are still a legit threat to win the World Series every year, though, so they get a pass. The Dodgers get a pass. The Marlins don't get a pass. See how that works? But anywho, though, Red Sox are 2-2 so far. Not bad. They're not scoring the runs as they should be, but same time, though, the pitching hasn't been there either. So if you're a guy like Rodriguez, Perez, Garrett Richards especially, who has been god-awful since the whole MLB crackdown started, he was definitely using some sticky stuff. Don't let that fool you. He was definitely using some sticky stuff. He sucks. The Red Sox have not played to the potential that they know that they're capable of playing of, and I think they're playing a little bit below expectations to what Torres. Now, look, the record has over-exceeded expectations. I think a lot of people would have thought the Red Sox would be kind of like a Phillies or a Blue Jays type situation, 500, around 500, maybe 1 or 2 games below, 1 or 2 games above. Now, on that teeter-totter, but no, the Red Sox, here they sit. They are here. The Red Sox sit at 45-31, 14 games above 500, which is shocking that they are 14 games above 500. Given the discrepancies this team has on defense, consistency at the plate, consistency on the mound, despite all the discrepancies that this team has and all the issues, they're still 14 games above 500. and looking destined to go to the playoffs. Not bad. Not too shabby. So that's good for the Red Sox. All right, a little bit more on the Red Sox topics and some more broad MLB topics, including the MLB crackdowns that happened this week. Max Scherzer wasn't much of a happy camper this week, and for right reasons. How's that looking in? I saw a highlight earlier today of Shohei Ohtani hitting a home run off the catwalk down in Tropicana, even though his ball is not going to be caught anyway in a regular stadium. But let's talk about Tropicana Field. Is it time for the Rays to finally ditch Tropicana Field and finally build a stadium that, I don't know, you're not going to have a catwalk double like Devers did the other night? TitleTown Throwdown on all Nature Sports and the fans-only sports network platforms. We'll be right back.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Odyssey Group International. You can find them at www.odysseygi.com. All right. Dustin Pedroia was honored last night by the Red Sox. A fantastic ceremony, as it should. Dustin deserved it. Right? Like, first off, PD deserved it for the 17 years he was here, for being drafted and up until his final game in 2019, sadly. He always left his heart and soul out on the field. And there's a picture last night that's now surfacing that Pedroia on the field, standing at second base, just looking around in an empty Fenway Park, the last man there. Of course, Pedroia was the last guy to leave the damn stadium last night. Why not? Why not? Of course, it was the first one to arrive and the last one to leave every single day. So is that really shocking to anyone? It's not shocking to me either. But now that kind of raises the question. I saw this a little bit last night. And for anyone that's watching, feel free to tune in here and chime in. Should the Boston Red Sox retire Dustin Pedroia's number 15? Look, last night was the night to do it. All right, last night was the night to do it. I don't know if they're going to it now at this point. I don't think they. I'm kind of leaning more towards they won't. But who knows? I mean, Jace Varitek, he's been retired for 10 years now, almost. His number's not retired, but yet no one's taken his number since. No one's been assigned 33. Absolutely no one's been assigned 33. Someone was. I believe somebody was assigned 33 last year, but then they got changed immediately because Varitek's wife said, no. That's not how we're doing things here. It made sense because he hadn't signed the number in, 8 years prior? And all of a sudden, magically, like, oh no, here's the number 33. No one's wearing it. No one important wore it. Really, Red Sox? Really? Now, look, I can understand with Ortiz, having his number retired, right away. Red Sox Hall of Fame, and the Red Sox doing the right thing, waiving everything for Pedroia to just put him into the Red Sox Hall of Fame class of 2022. Awesome. They did the same thing with Ortiz. And a lot of fans are like, oh, but the Red Sox have this policy that a player who retires has to wait 3 years so he's inducted in the Team Hall of Fame. But if he wants to have his number retired, he has to be in the MLB Hall of Fame. Johnny Pesky, who, granted, wasn't the greatest baseball player in his time, he'll probably admit that. He was nowhere remotely close to being in Cooperstown, and yet his number is enshrined up there. Ortiz, he's yet to get on the Hall of Fame balloting. He'll be on that next year. But Ortiz isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. His number's up there. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Now look, does Pedroia deserve to have his number retired? Probably. Yeah, sure. 3 World Series championships, a Rookie of the Year, MVP, all within his first 2 years of being in the league. Obviously, the 2 of the 3 World Series came after his first 2 seasons. But still, though, it's like, look what Pedroia did in his first 2 seasons. Rookie of the Year, which no one thought he would win it after his horrid April. But he won that. Won the World Series, won the American League MVP, he was also an All-Star in 2008, and Gold Glove Award winner in 2008 of like 6 Gold Gloves. What other player in baseball does that within his first 2 seasons? A guy is lucky to hit 50 career home runs in his first 2 seasons. If he's lucky to hit 10 of them, honestly, to be brutally honest. He'll be lucky to hit 10. No, look, was Pedroia ever a numbers guy? No, he always hit for a good average, though. I believe his career batting line was finished just under 300, but that's because of his 2 failed comeback attempts, and he only gained like 2 or 3 hits between the 2 stints in 18 and 19. Hurt his batting average. Definitely, but still though, it was roughly a 300 hitter. He only had 146 career home runs, but that's not a big deal. He was never a power guy. So that raises the question: should Pedroia get his number retired? Maybe. Last night was the night to do it, so I think that window's now passed. But will he be an MLB Hall of Famer? I remember talking to Lenny Donato about this weeks ago. Or a few months ago, actually, when Pedroia actually got retired, when Pedroia actually retired. And I asked Lenny, does Pedroia have a legit shot at Cooperstown? He said no, because Pedroia's numbers weren't there, and I agree with that. Yes, he has all the awards to go to his name. 3-time World Series champion. What was it, a 5-6-time Gold Glove Award winner? I forget about that. Rookie of the Year, AL MVP, third dog, laser show type guy. Always left his heart and soul out there. He has all these accolades, but the numbers aren't there. And frankly, look, if you just want to go strictly by awards, Pedroia would be in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Ortiz would be in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Any guy who won any type of award would literally be there. But no, it's all about the numbers. Ortiz don't have the numbers. What's done to Ortiz is that he didn't play a position. He was a DH. But Edgar Martinez though got in, and I think Martinez got in like 3rd or 4th ballot. So and now look, Ortiz is a better player than Edgar Martinez. Realistically speaking, let's be brutally honest with that. Edgar Martinez was good, but Ortiz was better. Take any guy in the prime, you go David Ortiz 100%. So look, if Ortiz gets in first ballot as a designated hitter, that's going to look really good for DHs all across the board. It's like, hey, I can actually make a career not playing in the field. That should make a guy like JD Martinez feel a little bit better, who, in his defense, he likes to play the field. But he's a DH, full-time DH right now. It's like, oh, you know what? I actually got a shot to make the Hall of Fame now if I continue to be in a DH. If Ortiz goes in within the first 2 ballots, then DH is past Ortiz. they have a great shot at first ballot Hall of Famers. If Ortiz goes in first ballot as a DH, all bets are off. They need to put any DH in their first ballot based off their numbers. But that's one thing that's going to hurt Pedroia. He didn't have the numbers. Now, look, Derek Jeter's in the Hall of Fame easily. Did Derek Jeter have all the numbers? No. Derek Jeter has over 3,000 hits in his career, deservingly. Was he the most power-heavy guy? No. I think Jeter is the same. I think Jeter only hit about anywhere between 150 to 220 home runs. If that. Don't know the exact number. I have to look that up later. But there's a case for Pedroia to be made. Okay? I'm not saying that it's out of the question entirely. You can definitely have a conversation about Pedroia being a Hall of Famer. Easy. But will he get in? That depends. Will he get in strictly based off his numbers? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's something we're going to wait and see when Pedroia is eligible in about 4 years. So we'll revisit this when Pedroia is put on the ballot. And what will it be? 2026? He'll be on the ballot. So we still got 4 or 5 years until we truly will know if Dustin Pedroia will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he can be. First ballot? No. Pedroia will get in either it'll be a late ballot vote or he will get in based off a senior committee years down the road after his name's been taken off the Hall of Fame ballot itself. So, I don't know. All right. Another quick break. Then I want to get into some standard MLB stuff. And have you seen the All-Star Game uniforms? Blech. TitleTown Throwdown on Naked Sports and the Fans Only Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
All right, back here on TitleTown Throwdown. So I gotta show you all this. These are the Red Sox All-Star uniforms, and it's vastly similar to what you're gonna see on the Home Run Derby. Thankfully, it's the Home Run Derby. All right, you only see these jerseys worn during the Derby in batting practice before the All-Star game itself. Just during the game itself, the players are actually wearing their team, the team that they're representing, jerseys. So whoever makes it on the Red Sox, which will probably be Martinez, Bogarts, Devers, and maybe Matt Barnes. I'll throw Barnes in there. They'll be wearing Boston along with this hat. Now, the hat I like. It's a navy blue hat. I think all the hats are navy blue, but I think that's perfect. You got the nice All-Star game. I love this star around the B. I love the star around the B. I love it. The hat I am in love with. I might get one myself. I love the hat. But look at this god-awful. Look at this. What is that? The two buttons, first off, looks like a t-shirt that you'll see at either a Hollister or American Eagle. One of the two. It's like a polo shirt, for crying out loud. Well, this is not a uniform. I'm sorry. I don't know what the jersey concept would have been for if it stayed in Atlanta. The hat, I can see still being the same. If the jersey was, oh God. Talk about, first off, when you change the All-Star Game location from Atlanta to Colorado, it made no sense to me, but whatever. Whatever. But I understand that, you hadn't come up with the jersey concepts yet. But this is the best you can do? Again, the hat, I love the hat. I'm in love with the hat. I think they did a great job with the hat. I think they did a fantastic job with the hat. The hat I like. This is a monstrosity. That is an absolute monstrosity. What? Oh, the players, they just keep these. They probably throw them in the attic. These are this is the type of jersey that you use to clean your kid's Gatorade with if you're a player. But as a fan, why would you want to buy that? I don't care if it has Martinez's name on it, Devers' name on it, Bogarts, Barnes, Evaldi. I don't care who your favorite player is in baseball. Nolan Arenado, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout. I don't give a rat's ass. If you buy that and you're happy with that design, oh God, you need your eyes checked and you're delusional. Oh God. If you get the hat, I respect the hat. Even if you don't get the hat without the star, you just get the All-Star Game logo on the side, that's fine. The hat is a big time win. The jersey is a big fat, what is that? Oh God, that's terrible. Of all the uniforms that Major League Baseball probably came up with, that's the best design you have? Really? I wasn't a fan. Look, I love hats. You can see from all my baseball hats right here behind. I'm just going to move. You can see from all these hats right here. Hats here. More hats right there. I got 2 hats hidden right there. I got more in my closet. I even have a bunch of hats right here. Look at that. I'm a hat guy. I am a big time hat nerd. Proud of it too. I would get the hat. But if you wear that hat with this jersey, Jesus. Now look, when it comes to some of the special NBA hats, I'll be honest, some of them I'm not a fan on. Never been a fan of the Mother's or Father's Day hats. I was not a fan of the color concept for their Boston Marathon stuff. I get the color concept, but the Red Sox were in baby blue and yellow. Baby blue and yellow. And your name's the Red Sox. Not that. No, look, some of the Armed Forces hats the Armed Forces hat that they had here, I didn't like it personally. I'd rather get that than this. I'll get that, no problem. I like the hat, as I said. I'd rather get the world's. They have these hats now, like all 30 teams, with some funky designs on them. No, I don't get the funky design ones. I think the funky design ones are stupid on a baseball hat, to be brutally honest. But they have hats. Red Sox has to have the 2004, 2007, 13, and 18 World Series logos on them, all around the hat. And on the back of it says 9-time champions. I did that hat before I ever buy that jersey. I'd buy that hat before I buy that jersey. Hands down. Like, it's not even a question. I'm sorry, that's an ugly jersey. Ugh. And the fact that possibly during the home run derby, I had to watch Shohei Ohtani do that. Ugh. Please, home run derby contestants, just wear your regular team jerseys and call it a day. Save everyone an eyesore. But speaking of Ohtani, he hit his first leadoff career home run in Tropicana Field. Now, look, there was a no-doubt shot, okay? He hit it out of country mile. But it hit off the top of the catwalk, and that got me thinking. That catwalk in Tampa Bay has caused a lot of issues over the years. Balls have gone stuck up there. Guys have missed home runs from up there. Foul balls get stuck up there and shattered a light. So that raises the question, how much longer are the Tampa Bay Rays going to play in that absolutely putrid stadium that they call ballpark? It's turf. Turf. AstroTurf, really. No one plays on AstroTurf anymore. The Blue Jays roof is retractable. They used to play on turf. The Blue Jays field. I gotta look at the Blue Jays field because I remember one time it was awful. Give me one moment here, but I'm just gonna keep on rambling. But I remember the Blue Jays field. It used to be that diamond. It used to be that diamond that it was just bad. It was just bad. The whole thing was turf. Yes, here it is. This was the Blue Jays field. I'm going to share the screen. Yeah, I found. Yep, found it. This was called the Sky Dome at the time, but it is important though too to see that. I'm just going to share the screen anyway because this picture is not loading. So here's what it was. It is again just an awful looking field. Look at that. Look at that monstrosity. You had the entire the home plate area for first, second, and third base, all dirt. The rest of this was AstroTurf. It was a turf field, and it looked absolutely horrible. It looked absolutely horrible. And now they actually have the legit diamond, the dirt all around. I still think it's turf out there. I'm not 100% sure. I think they're trying to lean more towards actual grass out in Toronto. But the Blue Jays, they have a retractable roof. I'm fine with that. And the roof is so high enough that a ball can still be played properly. The Trops, it's so low. Balls get stuck up there so many times. I don't know how you can play a 9-inning baseball game in that plane. Smallest seating capacity in baseball because they cover up the top row to make it feel more baseball friendly when realistically no one cares for baseball down in Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Lightning have more sellouts than the Rays, and the Lightning have been around just as long as the Rays, if not less. I believe the Lightning came into the NHL around the mid-90s. The Rays came in the late 90s. But still, The Lightning have had more sellouts in their entire existence than the Rays have. And that's pathetic. But not really, though. The Lightning are more consistent. But Tampa Bay Rays, please do me a favor. Soon, try to come up with a plan for a new ballpark and get out of that god-awful stadium. Or if you want to renovate the absolute piss out of it, do it. Get rid of the roof completely. If you want to put in a retractable roof, I'm fine with that. If you want to go a retractable roof route, fine. I like retractable roofs, all right? You can still play a game in a stadium with a retractable roof as long as the roof is about 200 feet high. So that way a baseball traveling 100 feet in the air can still make the proper loop down. Just get out of the Tropicana field or renovate the crap out of it. Do something. Something, please. Get out of that putrid stadium. All right, final break here, and I want to touch up on some NFL headlines. There's an Aaron Rodgers update. Nothing drastic, just another option for him to use, but he does have a lot of time to decide on it. So there's that, and just some other small NFL headlines too. TitleTown Throwdown on Naked Sports and the Fans Only Sports Network.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, and I think we can make this our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Odyssey Group International. You can find Odyssey at www.odysseygi.com. And the GI is capitalized. So, some NFL headlines, as I did promise and I teased. Aaron Rodgers has another option, believe it or not, to not play for the Packers. But this one is a costly option, though, which I think you should really consider. Honestly, not really consider it. So as it stands right now, there's been no change between Rodgers and the Packers. No, Rodgers hasn't formally requested a trade or demanded a release, so none of that. Even Kenny Mayne tried to get that out of him, and Rodgers didn't specify whether he did or not. Rodgers admitted that he wasn't happy with the philosophy. Fine. But Rodgers didn't commit himself to not playing for the Packers, nor did he commit to not ruling out a return. So it's kind of still, on the fence, kind of still 50-50 whether he will show up or he won't show up. He hasn't shown up to this point, but that's where all of these options come in. And so here are the options once again, and here's a new one. The new one is Aaron Rodgers can opt out of the 2021 season entirely by Friday, July 2nd. Now, the risk is this. Rodgers won't lose any of the money that he's already made financially right now. Like any offseason money he's gotten, he gets to keep. But he forgoes his base salary entirely. He forgoes his signing bonus, and he can't come back. He will not be eligible to come back. So say it's like week 5. Rodgers gets the itch to play football, he can't. He will not be allowed to re-enter the league until the new league year in 2022. That is the biggest downside to it. That if you opt out of the 2021 season, you can't come back. Like, you already opted out. You are not allowed to come back at all. You're essentially retired, almost. But now here's the other option of the legit retirement. If Rodgers does the actual retirement route and he does the itch mid-season, he will be eligible to come back. He can come back from that. So see, retiring and opting out are the two different things. He retires, he has the ability to come back at any point he wants. He opts out, he can't come back. He cannot redo it. Once you make that decision before July 1st, it's done. It's set in stone. You are not allowed to even attempt to come back into the league. Is that a risk Rodgers was willing to take? I don't think so. I really don't. Now look, I see Rodgers retiring. Yeah, I can see that. And maybe he does the itch mid-season. But here's another thing, though, too. If Rodgers retires and he's feeling good about retirement, his post-football life, he wants to pursue his post-football life more so than resuming an NFL career, I think a lot of people would respect that. And the Patriots would respect it, too, because the Patriots because that would basically ensure Green Bay that he's not going to play for another franchise. But now here comes the holdout, which he officially is a holdout right now, but he's not being fined anything. He won't be fined until the following date. And it all depends when Patrick's training camp opens. It all depends when Patrick's training camp opens. And here it is. I believe Patrick's training camp opens up sometime around July 26th, as much as the NFL does. It's going to be around that time. So we're looking at about another month here till training camp gets going, and we'll have a lot more football topics to talk about. Right now, it's kind of just the dead period in the NFL. But if Rodgers does not, let's just say training camp is July 26th for the Packers and all NFL teams, and Rodgers does not show up that day, he does fine $50,000. He doesn't show up day 2, he's fined another $50,000. By the end of 1 week of training camp, if he has not shown up, he's out $350,000. He doesn't show up the entire duration of training camp, he's fined north of $2 million. He doesn't show up at all throughout the entire season, from the beginning of training camp to the final day of the regular season. That's $35 million plus he's out. And also too, look, he can come back. He can come back at any given point. But now there's some key dates in the season, though, too. Whether he retires but still wants to have that itch, but doesn't want to play for Green Bay. Let's just say that. He wants to come back mid-season, but he doesn't want to play for Green Bay. Green Bay has until the Tuesday after Week 8 at 4 p.m. to trade his contractual rights. If they fail to do so, if Aaron Rodgers wants to play football in 2021 from Week 9 throughout the rest of the season, he has to report to Green Bay. He will have to report to Green Bay, no questions asked. Now, if he retires, he'll have until the end of Week 13 to reinstate himself. If he does not do that by that date, Aaron Rodgers cannot come back for the rest of the 2021 season. But again, there'll only be about 4 to 5 weeks left in the year anyway. So why would he come back at that point? But he will not be eligible to come back after week 13. So if Rodgers decides to hold out, he can come back at any time, but he's fined $50,000 each day until he shows up. And the max amount of money he will get, he'll be fined, is north of $35 million. He will not get fined for the playoffs, whether Green Bay will qualify for the playoffs or not, because it's just regular season, because it's just pre and regular season money that he'll be forfeiting. Any postseason money are all bonuses that he probably won't even see because he'd be a holdout. But the fines will end after week 18. The fines will end after week 18. By then, he had already lost $35 million plus a year of his playing career. And that's the risk that Aaron Rodgers will be taking with both the opt-out, retirement, and holding out in total. He'll be risking valuable reps, viable time, and really a showcase that if he truly does want to trade and Green Bay says, hey, we'll trade you after 2021, if he doesn't play, he's hurting himself because of the fact that no one will know if he will still be playing at the high top 3 quarterback level that he was when he won the MVP last season and years prior to that. So there's a lot of risk in this game that Aaron Rodgers is playing. Do I blame him for wanting to try to play this game? No. But good job on the Patriots for not just baiting themselves into it, because the Patriots have been in this situation once before with Brett Favre. They caved every single time to cater the quarterback. Eventually the quarterback still left anyway, but by the 6th time he retired and came back, the Patriots were done with him and ready to move on. I don't think the Patriots are ready to move on from Rodgers yet. That's why they're not playing into this game. They're not playing the cat and mouse game. The Patriots think that Rodgers is bluffing still. Rodgers is stern set. It's a battle of two heavy, complicated minds of which side's going to crack. Frankly, I think it's going to be Rodgers who's going to crack. I don't see the Patriots cracking in this. I think it might be Rodgers because two things. He'll get the itch. And he'll probably think, I'm hurting my value if I don't play. Which he really would be. There's a lot of cons to Rodgers' plan than there are pros for him. Pro is that he gets more rest and he's healthier. Great. He'll be the healthiest quarterback entering 2022. But teams will be hesitant to sign him or trade for him because he didn't play the year prior. And frankly, I don't think there's much of a market for Aaron Rodgers. He's 37 now, going to be 38 next off season. And a lot of teams are getting younger at the quarterback position. The Buccaneers took on Brady because they needed a guy to attract really viewership. And they were ready to move on from their young quarterback anyway because they didn't have a backup plan for Jameis Winston. They didn't. So their makeshift backup plan was Brady, and that's worked out well. They got a plan for after Brady now, but they're not forcing Brady out. They're going to look. Brady's at this point in which he can choose to go out the way he wants. And I believe Rodgers should go out the way he wants too. But not right now. Not right now. Play for the Packers. Eventually you'll get what you want. Whether that is a trade somewhere, whether that is Denver or Vegas or wherever. Now look, I don't think Las Vegas or Denver have the cap space. They might have to tinker some numbers a little bit, but they could do it. But I think the Raiders want to give Derek Carr one last shot before they make a final decision or before they make an official run at Aaron Rodgers. I think Denver again is the best place for Rodgers to play if he decides to resume his NFL career, whether he gets traded to Denver this year or the following off season. But again, though, John Elway needs to see what he has still in both Drew Lock and Bridgewater because They just got Bridgewater back in April and retained half his salary from Carolina. So you're kind of committed to that right now. And say Teddy Bridgewater plays out of his mind and Drew Lock or Bridgewater play out of their mind, Denver won't be in the market for a quarterback anymore. Say Derek Carr plays out of his mind and he leads the Raiders to the playoffs and maybe wins a playoff game or two, the Raiders will not be looking for a quarterback. The Rams tried to get Rodgers from the Packers and they said no. They settled on Matthew Stafford, who is a good second option. And say Stafford plays out of his mind in LA and he leads the Rams to the playoffs, the Rams aren't gonna look Rodgers' way. And then all roads will lead back to Green Bay for Rodgers. Because really that's what the only road is right now. Green Bay or bust. That's it. There's no in between for Rodgers. I'm sorry. For anyone who believes that Aaron Rodgers is truly gone out of Green Bay, is not happening. There's only two roads for Rodgers. Opt out retirement or suck it up buttercup and play. Like those are Rodgers' options. Those are realistically his only options. He opts out, he can't come back at all. He's done. He's already said he's done for 2021 without even taking a snap or showing up to the facility. He will not be allowed to show up at all. And that Friday deadline is coming up quick. So Friday, July 2nd, we'll know firmly. And if we haven't heard anything from Rodgers camp by next Saturday, then we'll know that Rodgers is sticking it out for the law. Then we'll know that Rodgers is committed to playing or will at least think about playing in 2021. But he opts out. He can't play at all. He retires. He avoids a $50,000 fine and can come back at any time, but will have until week 13 to decide whether he actually wants to play at some point of the season, in which, again, unless his contractual rights are traded by week 8, he has to go to Green Bay. Has to. So, realistically speaking, week 1 of the NFL regular season is slated for Thursday, September 9th. That's week 1. So, realistically, week 2. So, realistically, week 2 would be week number 8 would fall somewhere around October 29th or November 2nd. By November 2nd, I think that'll be the week 8 date. That'd be when the Packers have the final chance to trade Rodgers. If that doesn't happen then, Rodgers wants to play football at any point in 2021. He has to go to Green Bay. He has to report there. So after week 8, Rodgers wants to play weeks 9 through 18 in playoffs. He has to do it in Green Bay. All right, rapid fire NFL stuff. Could this be Big Ben's swan song? The Steelers are confident in their offensive production, but the big question is Roethlisberger durable enough to be there? I think he is. I think he had a bad down stretch in the final 6 games of the year, but so did the whole team. But should this be the swan song for Big Ben? Like, should this be the last time we see Big Ben play football this year? What we will have to see. And Dante Hightower earlier this week said that he is eager to face Brady. He faced Brady a lot of time in practices. Now he can't wait to do it during a game. We're all eager for that. We're eager to see Tom Brady versus the New England Patriots come week 4 on the night of October 3rd. On October 3rd. So we're all excited for that. We can't wait for that. Week 4. That we cannot wait for that. And Dante, we're with you. We're hyped for that too. We know you probably want to sack Brady. You'll probably put him down gently because friend, former teammate, and also he's old too. We saw Richard Seymour do that. Seymour got to Brady a few times, laid him down on the floor gently because he knew how fragile Brady was at the time to not only his career, but also the Patriots, especially at that time in his career. Just Brady had still come off of major knee surgery when he tore his ACL in 2008. So Brady was still pretty fragile then. He's fragile. He's even more fragile now. But, that knee and his knees are still bothering him too. So that's besides the point. All right. TitleTown Throwdown will be back next week. Same time, Knuckleheads. I'd steal that from Michael Wilbon here, but that's copyrighted by him. But next week, hopefully a little bit more NFL news. We hope, as training camp will be ramping up very soon. See where the Red Sox are at in a week's time, and see what else is going on, because the Bruins are going to be entering a big offseason. The Celtics will be entering a big offseason. So hopefully we'll have more news on both of those two teams. We'll have a little bit more to talk about. But anyway, though, for now, I'm Nick LeBlanc. Thank you for watching TitleTown Throwdown, and we'll talk to you next week.